Hey everyone, Chef Jason Hill here, and I'm with my friend Brian, and we're down in beautiful Laguna Beach, and he's going to tell us a little bit about this cooking device known as the Big Green Egg. So
beautiful day, Jason.
Here, Brian?
Well, what we have here today is this is the Big Green Egg. This is the extra large version. It's the biggest egg that they make right now. They are talking about building a bigger one than this. It's actually a monstrosity, but they haven't come out with it yet. It'll be interesting to see, but they have many styles, versions of this actual egg. It all basically has the same configuration, but there's basically different sizes from tabletop up to this size, which is the XL. Currently, I'm using it on just a standard foot pedestal. They actually make several tables for these. They can come up off the ground, more of an even cooking level. It is a ceramic style egg. These are basically come from the Qin dynasty in China, and many centuries ago. And what's happening here is that being that it's ceramic, it retains a lot of heat. So the great thing about these Big Green Eggs and the other Komodo style cookers is once you bring them to temperature, they stay constant. You don't have to mess with them. You use a lump style coal, which is kind of like these coals we have over here. So we have a couple different versions here. This is 100% lump mesquite coal. This bag here, there's several retailers that sell that. Then there's the Big Green Egg version of the lump coal. Now the lump coal that Big Green Egg sells is an organic style coal. It's premium oak and hickory, and they're both they're pretty comparable in terms of use. However, I do have a preference of the Big Green Egg coal, and the reason why is the type of wood. It burns a little bit hotter. A little more consistent temperature range. The mesquite's been working out fairly well. You know, if you want to cook a quick burger or something, you can do that. But the versatility of the Big Green Egg's pretty awesome. You can pretty much use it as a smoker, you can use it as a normal grill, or you can actually use it as like a pizza oven, okay? So you can build this thing to whatever temperature you want based on controlling the dampers. And the way you do that is it comes with this damper here. And the way this thing works here is it actually spins on top. Two different devices that spin up here on top. So the real temperature control on this device comes from two things. One is the damper here on the bottom.
Okay.
Real important when you're smoking. I actually learned the tough way by overcooking some meat that you don't need to keep this thing open very much for temperature. Basically you want to get up in the 200 range, and you only keep this between 1/4 and 1/2 inch down here on the bottom. Now, when you're getting the fire going though, you keep this thing wide open with the screen shut. The only purpose of the bottom screen opening is this is how you remove your ash after you're done cooking.
Oh.
The lump coal is really nice because it actually generates very little ash. It's not like a typical briquette where you have all these briquettes and ash you have to handle at the end.
Oh, okay.
This lump coal is great, being that it burns very hot, high heat, and if you snuff your fire, you can actually reuse your lump coal. It actually will just stop the cooking process. The fire will go out. You go to relight it another time, and I'll show you that how to do that. But you can go ahead and light it at a later time and reuse those coals all over again. So it's real nice. I mean, I've cooked over 12 hours with this thing, up to I think 15 hours, and I still had a pretty good amount of coal in there. So I'd imagine it'll go at least 18 hours on a good full, set of coal. Now, when you close this grill, this thing will run basically full heat. You want to get about 600 or 700 degrees. You want this thing open, wide open, okay? But when you're cooking down to 350, I actually take it down to about 1 inch to get to about 350 in temperature.
Okay.
And really to get down to 225, somewhere in there, I really damper that thing down. It takes very little airflow to keep this thing moving. It's just the coals are smoldering, and it really creates a nice product.
Okay.
And you control your temperature up here with the same thing on the top damper.
So you're just keeping that airflow.
It's your airflow control is really what you're doing here when you're cooking. If you want a lot of heat, you open the door wide open, open this damper up top wide open, you can really get this thing billowing.
Okay.
You can get this thing up to 700 degrees. And you can control the heat real low if you want to bring it down to about, somewhere down around 200 for smoking, anywhere from 225 to 240. You keep the bottom open about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Real important. I learned this through several trials, cooking pork butts, cooking ribs. cooking, what else do we have on here? Some tri-tip, we cooked some brisket. And you know,
the brisket, that was awesome.
Yeah, anything from cooking from 5 pounds up to, you know, I think I had some 8-pound brisket in here.
Wow.
And you know, I cook everything about an hour and a half a pound in this at about 225 to 240 in that range. The real cool thing about this more than anything is I could put something in here at 10 o'clock at night at a constant 225 temperature, and with the lump coal, it burns so consistent all night long.
Yeah.
With this green egg, I can come back at 10 o'clock the next morning, a 12-hour cook. The food's done, and it's still 225 degrees.
That's awesome.
So that's the real cool thing about the green egg, more than anything.
And then today we're going to take this to, we're going to do salmon, and we're going to take it up all the way to probably 600 and do the pizzas.
That's correct.
We're going to see the range of this big green egg today, so I'm very excited.
All right, so what I've done here is basically I've just got some standard Applewood chips. You can get them at any you know, barbecue store, order them online, whatever. These are Applewood, so a good practice to do with the smoking is go ahead and soak your chips for anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
Put them right on top of your coals, and you know, if you're looking for a different smoky flavor with whatever, you know, type of meat you're cooking, you know, there's many types of wood you can use on this also. You don't want to use certain resin type woods, actually very bad and harmful to cook with those type of woods. You want to use a natural wood that's like a hickory, a mesquite, something apple. A lot of fruit trees are good to use. Basically, you can use these as kind of somewhat of an additive for the smokiness, you know, and different types of flavors you're going to be cooking with. So all it does is it just enhances the flavor a little more in the food. Doesn't really do much to the cooking aspect of heat or anything like that.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm soaking them here is if you just throw them in dry, they're just going to burn up real quick. So you retain a little longer heat, a little longer use out of them if you just soak them ahead of time. And you know, you could soak them as long as you want. Basically, they're only going to soak up so much water, and you know, don't put so much on there that you're going to douse your fire, but you know, drain the water out when you're done. Basically, I just grab them like this and just throw them right on top of my coals. Yeah.
Okay, so we got the coals in here. Now, what's our next step?
All right, so next step is here a couple things. One, we want to pull this damper off that we used to snuff the fire from last time. Let's go ahead and put our new heat-controlled damper on here. Okay. Open that up all the way. Let's open the door here. We already got a little bit of the fire kicking off here just from the previous cooking that we've done. Actually had a little bit of some hot coals in there, so it's starting to smoke a little bit. Now we'll open this bottom damper, and I like to open it up all the way to get full airflow.
Okay.
And then let's go ahead and just fire up our basically our fire starters. I just basically let it flame for about 10 minutes or so. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add some, these are apple smoke chips. We had them pre-soaking here for a while, about a couple hours already. We're just going to add them right on top of the fire, and it's going to give us a little more applewood smoky flavor. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. We got our fire going. It's already been flamed out. We're at the point now where we can go ahead and put our plate setter on. So this is a full ceramic plate setter. Basically, there's two purposes of this plate setter. When you put it in like this, you're creating an indirect heat for smoking food. When you flip it over, you can now use it as a pizza stone.
Nice.
Okay, so it's dual purpose. Definitely recommend buying this when you get the big green egg. It's really the main part of what you need here. So it fits right in here, right in the slots. It'll start building heat here fairly quickly. Go ahead and put our grill right on top. Okay, we're now at a point where we can go ahead and close the top and close the bottom. And two things we want to do here. We had this thing wide open for getting temperature. We actually left the door open the whole time. We actually want to close it now. I'm pretty familiar with where this needs to be for the temperature I need. I want it 200 degrees, so I want to really damper this down, barely open. And I also want to damper this thing down at the bottom, real important. And all I want is about a 1/4 inch airflow down at the bottom. Really hard to believe that that's all the air you need, but that's all you need. Okay, one last tip I would like to remind you of on the big green egg. Very important that you burp these, especially in temperatures above 350 degrees. What happens is it creates a backdraft when you open these at hot temperatures, and you'll get this real backdraft effect. So what you do is just open it, crack a little bit, before you go ahead and open it the whole way. Give it a few seconds to breathe.
Okay.
You don't want that backdraft effect really just hitting your face and, you know, burning your face up. So,
yeah. Well, Brian, I really appreciate you showing me the big green egg and showing my viewers. What's next?
Well, it's been my pleasure, Jason. I appreciate the opportunity. Well, what's next? I'd like to get this thing up to an elevation where you can actually cook where it's at a similar height as your countertop. So I'm going to start producing some tables. Probably start off with a nice butcher block tabletop, something you can pull your meat out and do some slicing or chopping right on top. Maybe even a stainless steel option, something you can keep nice and clean. And I want to build something maybe that's mobile too, something you could use for, you know, outdoor camping or whatever else you might want to do with it.
That's a great idea. As soon as you get your first one done, I'll come film it.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for tuning in.